Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about the one of the newest sports horror movies, if that's what you want to call it, called Him. This movie is directed by Justin Tipping, and this is a director that I know nothing about. I have not seen any of his other work, or no, honestly, I'm not sure what other work he has done. I've looked into some of his stuff, but most of it I was like, I don't know I've never seen any of this. So this is a brand new director to me. This movie stars Marlon Wayans and Tyreek Withers. I hope that's how you say his name. Which I saw him earlier this year in I Know What You Did Last Summer. Which, spoiler alert, I do like his character much better in this movie than I did. I Know What You Did Last Summer, but that's just me. Essentially, this movie you follow this quarterback. Marlon Wayans is like this hailed quarterback that's been the best of the best throughout years and years now, and now this new quarterback is coming into the fold, and he's trying to train and become better, and something happens with his character, and he ends up going and meeting up with Marlon Wayans, who essentially brings him to where he lives to help train him, I'll say, and to coach him to be even better of a quarterback. That's all I can really say, because there's really no describing this movie at all. Even the trailers, like the trailers did a good job of not really showing much, but at the same time, it's one of those trailers where you're like, what the fuck did I just watch? And there's a couple parts in this movie where I'm like, what the fuck? Where you're just the whole time, that's about your consensus through the whole movie. Like, what the fuck? This movie's produced by Jordan Peele, and through the majority of the movie, it felt, at least to me, there's certain things that go on throughout this movie that felt like a Jordan Peele movie. Not that he directed it, but it did feel like something Jordan Peele would be a part of or would want to do. And there's certain visual elements of the movie that felt very Jordan Peele-ish. So I was like, I could understand why he wanted to get a hold of this movie. It's like I said before, this movie is very stylistic. It has a lot of shots that are very cool, and the way that certain things are presented, with whether it be, I'm trying to figure out how to say this without giving anything away. There's certain things that are shown at certain points that you're like, what the fuck? But it's very stylistic with how it's done and the way that they go about shooting. There's things with where you have like these X-ray shots, and then you have stuff that'll appear with like flashiness and stuff like that. And the way that all that is done is very well, because it kind of puts you in the mindset of this character that almost is like descending into madness, and it makes the audience member also feel that way, because as time goes on, you're like, is this stuff really happening, or is this all chalked up to what happened to him? And is this all in his head? So it does a very good job of that fine line of teetering that fine line of is this real or not. I also think Marlon Wayans does a fantastic job in this movie. Now, when you think of Marlon Wayans, you really think more about his comedic career and his stand-up career and stuff like that, and I think he's very good comedian. Like, I love some of the comedies he's done. I've never really watched his stand-up, but I do enjoy some of his comedies. I have never seen Requiem for a Dream, and I know that is a very, very serious movie, and it's one I've always wanted to seek out and watch, but at the same time, I also don't want to have my afternoon completely destroyed and feel like dog shit after I watch it. So that's why I have not chose to watch it yet. It's one of those movies that I don't really want to be like, let me spend my Friday or Saturday afternoon just going on this bender and feeling like shit. But I've heard it's a fantastic movie, and it's one I want to see, and I know it's a very serious part for him in that movie. But in this one, he has to play this coach that you can just tell that there's something off about him. You can tell something doesn't sit right, but he does such a great job of teetering a fine line of this caring person while also being this very narcissistic person. And I think he does such a great job with that, because you want to like him, but at the same time, you're like, you get this feeling that you're like, I don't want anything to do with this guy. This guy is awful. And there's certain parts in this movie where he does these things where he really like screws with the mind of the Cameron character, and he does it with such great ease, because he'll start slow, and then the parts where he has to explode and really be this really mean person, he does such a great job with. And like I said, he does such a great job of teetering on that fine line. And I saw a thing with him of how he chose to play it, and I think he does it so well. About what he said was that he chose to play this character like, you know, he knows that he's the greatest, and he feels like somebody is going to come in and take his place. And so in his mind, he's like, yeah, right, we'll see about that. So it's very in the vein of that. And I saw where Tyreek, he said he had to watch a bunch of stuff like Black Swan and Whiplash and movies like that, which is, these movies about perfection. And that's essentially what this movie really boils down to at the end of the day, is being perfect at what you want to do. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't care what career you have, the shit that is in this movie, it's not worth it. It is not worth going through the amount of shit that how it is in this movie to be perfect for something, because you're never going to be perfect anyway. But I do believe there's a lot of athletes that feel that way. So, and that's another thing that I feel like this movie could have touched on a little bit more. I feel like this movie is very skin deep. It's very surface level on what it wants to say. Like, to me, its overall message is, you got to be perfect. You got to be perfect. What are you willing to sacrifice? You have to sacrifice to be perfect. When I feel like there was more to say with it, I feel that they could have touched on many other subjects with this certain subject matter, and they don't really go that route. They just kind of stick with that one narrative. And while it's okay, and while I did like this movie, I did feel a bit underwhelmed at the end of the day for it. I was kind of like, I don't really know what I was expecting from it to begin with, because based on the trailers, I had no idea what it was about. And I'm cool with that. I love movies like that where I just walk in and I'm like, I don't know what this movie's about, but take me for the ride. I want to know what the journey is. And I don't know. Like I said, at the end of the day, I just felt about a bit underwhelmed with it. I've seen most of the reviews for this movie. People mainly hate it. Like, a lot of people were like, nah, they just did not like it at all. And I can totally see why. There's certain things of humor that is kind of put in this movie, because that Marlon Wayans character kind of does that. I don't know, it just don't fit the tone of the movie, at least to me. Like, he is like serious while doing it, but it comes off as funny, some of the stuff he has to say, because I had a bunch of people in my theater laughing, and I was like, I don't get it. But that might just be a me thing. I just felt like that didn't really fit the overall tone of what this movie was going for, or what it was trying to go for. I do really appreciate that this movie felt like like this original concept for something. Even the way that the movie is shot in some degree, it feels like it's almost a stylistic music video that kind of like marches to the beat of music at certain times and like goes with the flow of music. And I'm like, that's a kind of interesting take. And there's certain ways that certain scenes and certain imagery is shot, like I kind of mentioned earlier in the review, that is very well done. Especially near the end, there's something near the end that goes on when he walks out onto a football field. Even though it's like in broad daylight, the way that it's shot is very visually appealing, and there's a lot of, and then also throughout the movie, there's a lot of darker rooms with certain colors and things like that, and the colors and stuff really pop. You could say this is definitely a movie of style over substance. Like, I enjoyed what they were doing, and I totally get what they were going for, but I just didn't feel like there was much to really chew on at the end of the day. Like, I got the story, I got the overall thing of what they were going for, but I felt like it didn't last as long as it should. And like I said, I felt like this was a movie that could have had more to say, and maybe to some people it will. Maybe some people walk out of this and pick up on an entirely different thing than what I got. Like I said, I liked the movie. I enjoyed it, but I just felt a bit underwhelmed with it, and I felt like they could have done more with it. And like I said, somebody could walk out and be like, no, man, it's about this, and it has this to say, and this. And if you got something like that out of it, fantastic. That's the beauty of art. To me, it just felt very surface level and just left me wanting more at the end of the day. And it was, like I said, it was very entertaining, very visually beautiful to look at. Like I said, I just wanted more. And this movie has, I mean, you could even kind of tell by the trailer if you guys watched any of the marketing for this that it had this very bizarre tone throughout it. But stuff like that interests me. Like I think movies that take swings like this and have that kind of bizarre undertone of what the hell is stuff that I kind of look forward to, because at most of the times with movies like this, there's a lot to really dive into and dig deep with and try to have conversations with about what this meant or what do you think this meant. While I feel like this movie was not one of those movies, at least for me, I do appreciate the fact that it did feel like something original and something that the director and the actors all had a passion for. So I fully respect that. While I embraced the bizarre of it, I also didn't think if this was going for more of a horror element to it, I don't know. That's another thing I didn't really get about it. This felt way more of like a psychological thriller about somebody, screwing with somebody's mind the whole time. And while there is images that are horrific, I guess you could say, and like bizarre and just, it's very trippy and stuff like that. There's images of that, all stuff like that. I don't know, as a horror movie, I don't know if I would really call it that per se. This definitely felt more on the side of psychological than anything else. The other thing about this movie is that I feel like there's certain things that happens to our main character in this movie that doesn't get questioned enough about it. Like, I know he's at this essentially compound area with Marlon Wayne's character and surrounded pretty much by all his people, but I feel like he doesn't question stuff enough himself. Like, I feel like he just goes along for it for the sake of the narrative. It's just like, okay, there's certain things. I'm not trying to give anything away, but there's certain things that they keep doing to him that I'd be like, hey, what the fuck is this? Or like, what why are you doing this? Which I know at some point they mention why they are doing it, and it's kind of again mentioned at the end why they're doing it. But as in that time, I feel like he doesn't question it. Like, I think he questions it one time, and then they just do it anyway, and then he's just like, oh, okay, that's cool, sure. Me, I'd be like, hey man, I don't know what that shit is, but I don't like what it's doing to me or making me feel. So and again, it's all about that theme of sacrifice. What are you willing to sacrifice and all that. But me, I would be like, I think any sane human being would be like, what the fuck are you doing to me? At the end of the day, like I said, this was a mixed bag for me. I was very interested in it based on what I've seen from the marketing and how the certain things from the marketing drew me into it. While I enjoyed it, I was very underwhelmed with it and kind of let down by it. I did not know, that was kind of the beauty of it. I did not know what to go in expecting because I didn't know from the marketing what kind of twists and turns it was going to take. So that's a good thing. But still, at the end of the day, I left very underwhelmed. Enjoyed it, but underwhelmed with it. So I would say, I would. It's hard for me to. So this one's kind of hard. I don't know if I would recommend this one in the theater or not. I think it just depends on who you are. If the marketing grabbed you or if the story grabbed you, by all means, go see it. Enjoy yourselves. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you have fun with it. Or if you were just like, it's all right. Then if you felt that way, you could check it out at home. Stream it whatever streaming service it winds up on, or when it hits VOD, you can feel free to do it that way. It just depends on your preference and what you think, what you like and what your tastes are. Like I said, somebody could go see this movie and get a million things out of it, and that's cool. Where for me, it just kind of focused on one narrative throughout the whole story, and it kind of just beats you in the head with that one narrative throughout the whole thing. Where, like I said, somebody else could go and see and get a million things out of it. And then, like I said, that's the beauty of art. So it depends on who you are. But thank you, everybody. That's been my review for Him. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Please come on over to my channel. I have a bunch of 2025 movie reviews now. I started in January, so I should have a pretty good chunk. I'll leave a card or a note or whatever it's called up here for that. And please come on over and hang out. We try to have fun over here. So thank you so much. And as always, I will see you in the next one.